Have you ever trusted someone so completely that you never imagined they could turn your own life against you? I did. If someone had warned me that the people I worked beside every single day would smile at my face while quietly planning my downfall, I would have laughed. I believed loyalty meant something. I believed honesty always won in the end. I was wrong. By the time I discovered the truth, I had already lost my job, most of my friends, and nearly my reputation. But they made one mistake. They thought I would disappear quietly. They had no idea I was collecting every message, every email, every lie, and when the truth finally came out, nothing in their lives was ever the same again. This is my story. 1. A life I was proud of. 3 years ago, life finally felt stable. I had landed my dream job at a growing marketing company. The office wasn't huge, but it was full of energetic people chasing big goals. I loved the work because every project felt like a puzzle waiting to be solved. I usually arrived before everyone else. Coffee in one hand, notebook in the other, planning my day before the office became noisy. People often joke that I worked too hard. Maybe they were right, but I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I simply wanted to build something meaningful. Over time, my boss started trusting me with bigger projects. Clients requested me by name. My confidence grew. For the first time in years, I felt like I truly belonged somewhere. That's when everything began to change. 2. The new team member. One Monday morning, our manager introduced someone new. Everyone, this is Daniel. He'll be joining the creative team. Daniel smiled warmly. He seemed friendly, confident, easy to talk to. Within days, everyone liked him. He remembered birthdays. He bought coffee for coworkers. He complimented people's ideas. Even I thought he was a genuinely good person. Since I had been with the company longer, I helped him learn the systems. I showed him where old project files were stored. I explained how clients like to communicate. Whenever he had questions, I answered them. He thanked me every single time. You've made my first week so much easier, he said. I smiled. No problem. Someone helped me when I started too. Looking back now, I wish I had never opened that first folder for him. 3. Small things that didn't feel right. At first, the changes were tiny. Almost impossible to notice. During meetings, Daniel would repeat an idea I had shared with him earlier. Everyone praised him. I assumed it was an accident. Then it happened again. And again. One afternoon, I presented a campaign strategy I had spent 2 weeks preparing. Before I finished speaking, Daniel interrupted. Actually, I had a similar thought yesterday. He explained my idea almost word for word. The room nodded. My manager smiled. Great thinking, Daniel. I sat there in silence. Maybe it wasn't intentional. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. 4. Rumors begin. A few weeks later, something strange happened. People who usually chatted with me suddenly became distant. Conversations stopped when I entered the break room. Smiles became polite instead of warm. I couldn't understand why. One afternoon, my closest coworker looked uncomfortable. Can I ask you something? Of course. She hesitated. Did you really tell management that some of us aren't working hard enough? I stared at her. What? No. She looked confused. That's not what I've heard. My stomach dropped. Someone was spreading stories about me. Stories that weren't true. But who? And why? 5. Losing trust. The following weeks became harder. Projects I normally handled were given to other people. Meetings happened without inviting me. My manager became colder every day. No explanation. No warning. Just distance. I tried working even harder. Longer hours. More effort. Perfect reports. Nothing changed. It felt like I was trying to repair a bridge while someone else kept breaking it every night. I started questioning myself. Was I imagining everything? Had I somehow upset people without realizing it? The uncertainty hurt more than the silence. 6. The first real clue. One evening, I stayed late to finish a presentation. The office was almost empty. As I walked past the conference room, I heard voices inside. I recognized one immediately. Daniel. Don't worry, he said with a quiet laugh. They already believe she's the problem. Another voice answered. What if she finds out? Daniel chuckled. She won't. My heart started racing. I froze outside the door. For a second, I wanted to walk in. Demand answers. But something stopped me. Instead, I quietly stepped back. I left the office without making a sound. That night, I barely slept. Because deep inside, I finally realized this wasn't bad luck. Someone was carefully destroying my reputation. And I had a feeling I knew exactly who it was. The next morning, I made a decision that changed everything. I stopped defending myself. Instead, I started watching, listening, saving every email, every message, every strange conversation. If someone wanted to build lies, I was going to build the truth. The betrayal gets worse and the revenge plan. 7. Watching instead of reacting. The next morning, I walked into the office with a completely different mindset. For weeks, I had been trying to convince everyone that I was innocent. It wasn't working, so I stopped. I greeted everyone with the same smile as always. I finished my work on time. I stayed calm, even when people whispered as I walked by. Inside, though, I was paying attention to everything. Every email, every meeting, every strange comment. I created a folder on my laptop called Proof. At first, it contained only a few screenshots and notes. But with each passing day, the folder grew. I wasn't looking for revenge anymore. I was looking for the truth. And the truth was getting closer. 8. A conversation they never knew I heard. One Friday evening, almost everyone had gone home. I returned to my desk after grabbing a coffee and heard voices from the copy room. Daniel was talking to another coworker. She's finished, Daniel said with a laugh. Management already trusts me more than her. His coworker sounded nervous. What if she finds out you've been changing those project files? Daniel replied confidently. She won't. By the time anyone notices, they'll blame her. I quietly stepped away before they saw me. That single conversation confirmed what I had feared. This wasn't office politics. It was a plan. 9. The missing credit. A week later, our biggest client announced they wanted to renew their contract. It was the project I had spent months building. During the meeting, my manager smiled at Daniel. Excellent work. This contract happened because of your strategy. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Every document, every design, every presentation, I had created them. Daniel accepted the praise without saying a word. He looked at me for just a second. There was a small smile on his face. Not a happy smile, a victory smile. That moment hurt more than losing the credit. It showed me exactly who he really was. 10. The one person who still believed me. Just when I felt completely alone, someone surprised me. Emma from the finance department asked if we could talk after work. We sat in a quiet cafe. She looked around before speaking. I don't think you're the problem. I stared at her. What do you mean? She lowered her voice. I've seen documents being changed after you've submitted them. My heart skipped. You've seen that? She nodded. And I think Daniel knows more than he's pretending. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel alone. Someone else had noticed. Someone else believed me. 11. Building the truth. Emma and I became careful. We never discussed anything in the office. Instead, we compared timelines, emails, and project files after work. The pattern became impossible to ignore. Files were edited after I finished them. Emails were forwarded without my knowledge. Ideas I had shared privately somehow appeared under Daniel's name. Everything pointed in the same direction. Still, we needed proof no one could deny. Not opinions. Facts. 12. The biggest mistake they made. A few days later, management announced a company-wide presentation. Daniel would present the newest campaign to the executive team. Everyone expected it to be another success. Daniel looked confident. Too confident. The night before the presentation, Emma called me. I found something. She had discovered an older version of the campaign stored on the company's backup server. It showed every edit, every timestamp, every original file, every change, and every person who made those changes. For the first time, we had undeniable evidence. I looked at the screen for several minutes without saying a word. This wasn't just enough to clear my name. It was enough to expose everything. 13. The calm before the storm. The next morning, I arrived at the office earlier than usual. Everyone seemed excited about the presentation. Daniel walked in wearing his best suit. He smiled as if nothing could go wrong. As he passed my desk, he leaned closer. You look nervous. I smiled back. Not at all. He laughed and walked away. He thought I was defeated. He had no idea that the truth was sitting safely on a flash drive in my pocket. I wasn't nervous anymore. I was ready. End of part 2. In just a few minutes, Daniel would stand in front of the entire leadership team, expecting another round of applause. Instead, the room was about to witness the one thing he never planned for. The truth. Part 3. The truth comes out. Justice wins in a new beginning. 14. The presentation that changed everything. The conference room was packed. Department heads, senior managers, and the company's biggest client were all there. The atmosphere felt exciting. Everyone expected another successful presentation. Daniel stood at the front of the room with complete confidence. He smiled at the audience. Good morning, everyone. Today I'd like to present the campaign that my team and I created. My heart was beating fast. Not because I was afraid. Because I knew this was the moment everything would change. Slide after slide appeared on the screen. Every idea, every strategy, every creative concept. I recognized every single one. Because I had created them. People nodded with admiration. Some even clapped. Daniel looked proud. He believed he had won. Then my manager asked, "Does anyone have any questions before we finish?" I slowly raised my hand. The room became quiet. Daniel looked at me, surprised. "Yes." The manager asked. I stood up calmly. I'd like to show everyone something before this meeting ends. 15. The truth everyone could see. I connected my flash drive to the meeting computer. The first screen showed the original project files. Then I opened the company's backup history. Every file contained a date. Every edit had a timestamp. Every version listed the employee who made the changes. I didn't accuse anyone. I simply let the facts speak. This version, I explained, was created 3 weeks before today's presentation. Another click. This version was edited after I submitted it. Another click. And this record shows who changed it. The room fell completely silent. Managers leaned closer to the screen. The client exchanged confused looks with the executives. Daniel's confident smile slowly disappeared. His face turned pale. No one spoke. The evidence was impossible to ignore. 16. One question changed everything. My manager turned toward Daniel. Can you explain this? Daniel opened his mouth. Nothing came out. He tried again. I think there's been some misunderstanding. I stayed calm. There are also emails. I opened another folder. Every forwarded message. Every changed document. Every timeline. Everything matched perfectly. Emma quietly stood up. I can confirm these records are authentic. Now everyone understood. This wasn't one mistake. It was a pattern. Weeks of deception. Weeks of stolen credit. Weeks of lies. 17. The room fell silent. For several seconds, nobody said a word. The same people who had avoided me for weeks looked at me with shock. Some lowered their eyes. Others looked embarrassed. The manager took a deep breath. We're ending this meeting. He asked Daniel to stay behind. The executives remained in the room. The client requested a private discussion with management. As everyone walked out, several coworkers stopped beside me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have believed the rumors. I wish I'd asked you first. I simply nodded. I wasn't interested in making anyone feel guilty. The truth had already done that. 18. The decision. Later that afternoon, I was called into the manager's office. This time, the atmosphere felt completely different. I'm sorry, he said sincerely. We should have investigated before making assumptions. He explained that the company had completed an immediate internal review. Daniel's actions had broken company policies. His employment ended that day. The company also corrected the project records, giving proper credit where it belonged. My reputation was restored, but something inside me had changed. I realized trust is valuable, and it should never be given without wisdom. 19. A new opportunity. A week later, something unexpected happened. The client asked to meet with me directly. I've been impressed, she said. Not only by your work, but by how professionally you handled everything. She smiled. We're starting a new project, and we'd like you to lead it. I accepted. For the first time in months, I felt hopeful again. Not because someone else had failed, but because I had stayed true to myself. 20. The real revenge. People often ask me, what was your revenge? They expect me to describe some clever plan, some dramatic confrontation, some perfect comeback, but the truth is much simpler. My revenge wasn't ruining someone's life. It was refusing to let lies become my identity. It was staying patient while collecting the truth. It was letting honesty speak louder than anger. In the end, I didn't need to destroy anyone. The truth exposed everything on its own. Final reflection. If someone is trying to tear you down with lies, don't rush to fight every rumor. Stay calm. Protect your integrity. Keep records. Let your actions match your words. Because sooner or later, the truth has a way of finding the light. And when it does, the people who doubted you will finally understand who you really are. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. You never know who might need this reminder today. The truth may take time, but it never stays hidden forever.